The Heat lost to the Mavericks last night, and it was pretty much a tale of two halves. They had a good start in the first half. Things were rolling offensively. Bam Adebayo was really aggressive. Defensively, they were stopping Luka, trapping him, putting him in decent spots. But obviously, as the game progressed, Luka kind of picked them apart. The other guys on their team that they were living with taking shots started making shots. And when it came down the stretch, Miami's late game offense was kind of shown again to be problematic. So I just want to go through some of the things I saw in the fourth quarter overall, some of the good stuff and some of the bad stuff. The first one, there was some good in this one. The first stuff is feels like you always point out these post splits that work because they just work, even in the fourth quarters when they're in a bad spot. Working it through Bam is always a good call. Right here, you're going to see Duncan's going to cut through. They're going to switch it. And it was kind of a miscommunication. Now Finney Smith's getting ready to switch again onto Gabe. Bam's going to hit Jimmy backdoor, hit him on the cut. That's kind of when their offense was at its best. When they continue to get into these movement sets and they get Bam the ball and kind of work it into him, he had some time in the post splits. It was a point early in the third where they kind of blocked up off all the options on the pop out, on the cut, and Bam kind of got to the elbow and pulled up. That's when this team's at its best, when they're moving, and then they work the offense from there within their base sets. The next one, something we're going to talk about a lot here, is Jimmy. You're going to see them run like a double drag. Jimmy just trying to get the switch onto Luka. He does. They're successful, and now this is what they're just trying to do. It felt like even too much they were trying to draw the switch a little bit too often. It kind of threw off their whole kind of momentum offensively. They do it a lot of nights, especially when they're trying to draw mismatches with smaller guys. Here they get the Luka mismatch. Jimmy's going to drive. He gets by him and gets a nice little layup to go. This was kind of what Jimmy was doing all night. I know there's a lot of things focusing on Jimmy here late in the game, but they wouldn't even have been late game situation if Jimmy didn't go absolutely crazy in the second half and keep the minute with, I think it was 10 points in the third, and then he kept going, getting easy buckets at the rim, free throw line in the fourth. He's the one who kind of kept the minute. But obviously on this next one, you're going to see what they did. They put Maxi Kleber on him, and something a lot of people are talking about with the length. I've talked a lot about Tyler Hero dealing with length, but obviously Jimmy is another element of that because he uses so much of his size, his shoulders, trying to get inside the lane, draw an advantage. That's when he's at his best against smaller guys. When you put a bigger guy on this, he has to kind of use a much different plan to try to draw good shots. Right here, you see what he does. You can tell that he wants to hunt the smaller guy as much as possible. You're going to see Brunson kind of get caught and not fall all the way through with Gabe as he clears out. But what Jimmy does, he attacks the helper because he wants to get to this shot right here. Rise over the top of a smaller defender. That's what he does. That's what he's when he's at his best offensively. But obviously, you can't do that too much. When they eliminate that help and they make you go against constant help with bigger guys, then you can't really have that option. But right here, he did. He got to that little release valve fired over the top of a smaller defender. The next one, speaking of not having that smaller defender to attack, they get into an isolation. They put Cleaver on him. What does he do? This is kind of an indication when the Heat's offense is just not rolling, when it's not looking good, when it's not at its best. You get isolations with Jimmy Butler, and he starts settling for threes. This is just never good offense. This isn't really a set to show off, but it's just when that kind of happens and you get in isolation and you should be able to kind of get to your spot against a slower big in general, and he's settling for those type of threes. It's just never really good offense for this team. The next one, speaking of putting Kleber onto him, it's another isolation, top of the key. And you're going to see him get right here, not really draw an advantage because he uses his size. He doesn't get the foul call that he did all night. But there's something to mention here. Let's just go back a little bit and look at the people that are on the floor. You have Jimmy being guarded by Kleber. Obviously, that's who they're going to the most because he's rolling. But as I look around the floor right here, if they're going to move pieces around and try to find mismatches defensively and try to match up, you got to go at your mismatch on the floor. And as I'm looking around the floor right now, Bam Adebayo obviously was going in this game. Powell cannot cover him. And there aren't many big men in this league that can cover him because whoever they put on him, he's going to be faster than. So if you're trying to go through and find isolations to go to, I would be going to Bam Adebayo because we saw so many times, especially in that second quarter, Bam was able to drive past him when he pulled him out. And that's just when I think they have to get to at these points in the game sometimes because it just seems like if they're going to try to change things up and find an advantage, you have to do so as well. The last one, as we go forward right here. They kind of changed some things up with a minute 45 to go, and I think at this point they were down 9. It's kind of too late for this now, and I think the interesting thing is I would put the ball in Kyle Lowry's hands a lot more than they did late in the game last night and they have in the past because obviously he can orchestrate things at a higher level, and I think I know you want to get the ball to Jimmy, but maybe you get it to him within your sets. But I think the biggest thing is just trying to get him in a good spot to just try to find an open guy, find an open crease. Right here, you're going to see it's kind of like a horn set, two guys on the weak side right here, but it's a horn set. Bam's going to roll right here. You're going to have an easy opportunity. He lobs it right up. Bam ends up missing it, but gets it back and lays it in. But it's just a lot smoother of offense, as you see right there. When Kyle's running it, you have Jimmy and Bam screening. You have much more options. This team is not built to run isolations. This isn't one of these other teams around the East that can just go late in the game and give the ball to a certain player and say, go make a play. Jimmy Butler's a great player, but this team is based off movement, offense, ball movement, and all that type of stuff that they cannot get away from that type of stuff in these type of games.